Again, maybe I need both of them, but maybe I don't. And for you to say, do you know that you may be tired, maybe you shouldn't drive if you're taking both of them. You may need them, I don't know, but you may not. And
Right.
just to educate the patient that those are both narcotics.
What about
Tylenol? If there's a lot of Tylenol in one, and Tylenol can be deadly, correct? So again, that's the beauty of what you're saying. So where to with this?
It really is the beauty of the laws. You know, we sometimes think that we're inhibited by the laws. And Donnie and I were talking about this on the way over here as to the need for new laws and why it is that everybody is just so kin to trying to pass new laws and new legislation when this is not anything new. This isn't new territory. We haven't invented some new product. We haven't discovered some new service that all of a sudden we need some new laws in order to keep things manageable. These laws are already on the books. But you know, instead of looking the culprit in the eye and trying to get them to change their ways, you're going to write a new law, a new mandate. Now a pharmacist is only allowed to fill no more than 5 prescriptions an hour. Or like the chains are doing now. Chains are mandating that you counsel everybody. Well, everybody. Well, I may not need to counsel everybody.
You may not need to counsel every time.
Maybe I just had dinner with you last night.
Yeah, you know me. And you know,
I shouldn't have to have you sign a waiver. You're inhibiting us. Well, why are you going to add a new rule or a new mandate? What we're asking for the rules that are already on place for the people to have enough courage to look those offenders in the eye and say, you got to change your ways. Pharmacists need time in order to do the 3 things that we're supposed to be doing. If it's apparent that it's not being done, the Board of Pharmacy should be going in and saying, just like they did to us with compounding pharmacy. 70 people died, 700 got meningitis, New England compounding tragedy. It was a pharmacy not even in our state. I didn't do nothing wrong.
Right.
FDA takes over. Now I got to get it in a separate building. They come in with their checklist, boom, 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 and they say, we'll be back. They're not going to tell me specifically how to change what I'm doing, or us in general. We've always felt we were on the cutting edge of quality and being care. But in general, anybody doing compounding, they went in with their checklist. They said, I want you to do this, 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 and this. I'm going to be back. I'm not even going to tell you when I'm going to be back, but when I do, I'm going to check. That is enough to, why can't they do that with retail pharmacy? Yeah. A good IT person can go in and look at those computers and tell you how many seconds are being spent on the screen before they override and change it.
That's a good point.
A good person, a good IT, a Board of Pharmacy inspector can look to see under random patient names as to whether or not you called the physician and found out whether or not it was okay to continue given this concern. And if you did have a concern that you override, did you share that concern with the customer that you're handing the drug to in counseling? Apparently 90% of the time not. So we're not surprised. We're certainly not happy with the results of the survey, but we're not surprised with the results. These are the things that we're reading on and seeing on the internet. Our pharmacists have been complaining. And we talked about this before. Ultimately, these pharmacists not joining their professional associations and getting in a room together and forcing change is ultimately the root cause. 8 out of 10 of them don't want to join anything. These pharmacists, and how much money they're making, they just want to close the gates sometimes at night and go home. Well, now their lives are getting so miserable, they want to form a union. So now you're going to deny the public the drugs that you should have been insuring by joining an association. You don't got to stand up to your supervisor. Go in a room with 500 of your colleagues and go and wait. All raise your hand at once, either yay or nay to something.
Yeah.
I can't fill 500 prescriptions an hour. Raise your hand. Who can? And then you give that to the leaders of your group, and they go to the Board of Pharmacy. They said, you know what? We got 500 pharmacists. They all raise their hand and said, we're having to fill 500 prescriptions an hour. We don't feel we can follow the rules. The Board of Pharmacy will look at that and say, well, this guy's got some clout. He's a president of something. And he has a membership of 300,000 pharmacists in the country. We suspect only 10,000 join our national association. There's 300,000 of us. Only 10,000. This is part of our democracy. This is how we solve problems. Apathy. Apathy. Yeah. You're going to wait for something to happen.
And these OBRA laws
OBRA 90
have
is
been
what
out
it is.
for since.
Yeah, they're almost 30 years old
Right.
now, and it's not like they're not applicable anymore. We're not doing anything different when dispensing a prescription. We're just doing more of it, and that doesn't mean you can just disregard
Disregard.
what we've already. I mean, they're good things to follow. Like we've been
beauty
talking
of
about
it,
that
the
all day.
people
I
know-
mean,
the people know. They spend hours in a room saying, "What could possibly happen? What could possibly happen, and how could we prevent it? Let's put some rules in place and make sure we slow people down and know who you're getting, who's taking the prescription. Give the pharmacist a chop. What could possibly happen?" Well, the beauty of OBRA 90, federal law, it was as though they were predicting an opiate epidemic.
right? You look at the purpose behind passing these laws, and it's reducing fraud, abuse, gross misuse of
To thwart the
medications.
abuse and misuse of prescription drugs. They wrote it to prevent exactly what we're seeing.